small talk or BS talk for that game. Before we get into the introductions for this one of the points I really wanted to make last game was I was going to say, coming into this series, heavily favoring JonSnow. We saw him a lot in Copa America, and every qualifier for IEM or WCS since then. He's been a strong Zerg player, but never would I ever have suspected Pilipili to A, she's that hard, and B, pull ahead in the series with a quick 1-0 like that. So, in the bottom right corner of the map, we'll see if we can bring it back from Flipside Tactics. It's the blue Zerg, JonSnow.
The top left as the red Protoss, it's Pilipili.
A quick glance at the bets for the series. It looks like everyone in chat kind of mirrors my same opinion. A little close to 5,000 Partoofs placed on JonSnow and just barely 1,000 on Pilipili.
I would still give it to JonSnow, honestly. I mean, losing one game in a best of 3 is quite terrible. I mean, you're only one game away now, and anything can happen in that game. But that was just like, sometimes you just lose to cheese, but you're the better player, so you still feel confident in the next 2 games that you're going to win. It's unfortunate to play 2 games and not or 3 games, not just 2. If
I could, I'd like to shake your hand, by the way, just figuratively here, and congratulate us both, by the way. We left out the easy joke last game when JonSnow didn't know that the, the proxy was there.
Oh. Yeah.
We left the low-hanging fruit on the tree for the first time ever.
Quite. I just completely forgot.
No, okay, I guess you haven't been marathoning Game of Thrones like everybody else. Super Game of Thrones mode. I feel bad. I still haven't even got to see it. Like, I was so ecstatic when I heard the episodes that leaked or whatever, and then I was kind of like, oh, I'm not gonna have any time to watch these though.
Yeah. Well. That's like the first thing I'm gonna do when all of this all this casting is over. I'm like having like a queue on Netflix. I'm gonna start watching like, what is it called, Longmire? No, wait.
I've heard good things about Longmire. I haven't seen it. I've personally been obsessed with Daredevil lately. Still not finished that one yet, but I really want to.
Because Katie Sackhoff is in it, and she is
Starbuck
producing. Well, she's Starbuck, yes, but she's producing another show too, which is going to be really cool to see. So I was like, well, I'll watch what she's doing in the meantime. Apparently, it's got decent reviews.
Katie Sackhoff, even when she was just like guest starring or lending a voice to things like Robot Chicken or anywhere else, I just still know her as Starbuck. Like I've never been able to refer to her as like Katie Sackhoff.
Oh, no, okay. Well, I guess I see her name a lot. It's just being thrown out there for basically Miss Marvel. Who should play Miss Marvel? Katie Sackhoff. Who?
Well, her. Pili got a pretty nice scout this game. Nothing really being done to take advantage of that. We do have the quicker Nexus coming down, but let's be honest, in ZVP, this isn't anything shy of normal. Or this is pretty much exactly normal, rather.
Yes, it is. It is a... It's the latest Nexus you can really get. It's not very greedy at all, but it is pretty safe. You're going to have units out to deal with any lings that come out. JonSnow did, I think, he did go for a hatchery first after scouting a little bit, see if a proxy gate was in his natural. Could have been at the 3rd. He could have still made a mistake of not noting it was there, but like for him, that's not the case.
Oh.
Lings even get into the base.
Yeah,
might get a probe.
It'll be a little annoying, but the Stalker will pretty much warp in as soon as that gateway finishes. You get the Sentry on the way, too. I don't think she could get too out of hand.
Oh, wow. That is a very early... Oh, that's why. Because he saw 1 gas before gateways. All right. Okay, that makes sense.
Well, he also saw the Chrono coming down on the Cyber Core, and he doesn't really know if it was just 1 or if it was all the way. This could be the finishing tick, etc. So, I mean, preparing himself for 4 gates plus a Chrono, like, that's guaranteed aggression. I just don't know anyone who would do that and not follow it up, so, yeah, all those things combined. Good move to get the Rush Warren.
Yeah, very obvious. I mean, this is like a problem with this attack is that it can be very obvious just by the lack of a second gas in the main. So the Overlord for JonSnow, for instance, all it has to do is duck in for like 2 seconds and it can actually get out alive too. Like, you're not even sacrificing it. And it'll see the lack of a second gas. So it still doesn't mean that this isn't like, this is just a bad build in general. Sometimes they'll not know exactly how to deal with it. They'll underestimate how powerful it can be. They'll just be, I guess, tunnel visioned, and despite not scouting, not having a second gas, they won't expect it coming anyways. I mean, it's just a very aggressive maneuver, and some people do falter with that.
Well, I just feel like the 4 gates alone, especially, I don't think guaranteed to always be that attack. I mean, it can be in its pressure, and it's never really an all-in. off 2 bases. But it was the question whether it was just for a full wall or not. Now, JonSnow does take quite a bit of damage on that first roach. He's got 3 queens on the front line. He's even got a spine crawler coming in just for absolute safety. I think he's more than prepared to deal with this. While he doesn't have roach speed, oh, he even cancels it. While he doesn't have roach speed, it's still fairly easy to kite just zealots on the creep. But it's when these sentries start getting involved, when force fields go down, that's when it gets dangerous.
Yeah. Problem is that while he's thinking, well, I'm keeping him off a third, I can just recall out, this is going to be great. So we saw something similar yesterday where a counterattack of roaches could also be deadly, but the force fields are good, the time warp is also good, that means there's no recall. I think this might not have been the right option. He gets a couple of roaches, maybe not even any queens.
Kind of end up using the force fields against the zealots too towards the end of that fight too.
Yeah.
I guess he doesn't lose the Mothership Core, which is nice, and the sentries are going to look to possibly get away. I mean, they are kind of the key element to this, but this still wasn't really a worthwhile attack for Pilipili, I feel. He's not done yet, though. More zealots warping in. Don't know if JonSnow realized the pylon was there. He's seen it, at least. But tunnel vision could be focused on these sentries.
It's kind of interesting that Pilipili decided to get both of his natural gases before the main one. Maybe there were some mind tricks that could have gone down, but JonSnow was like right on top of the natural, so I think he knows what's going to come after this. Now, still lacking a third is a big deal. You're going to want to have a good economy to hold a potential immortal sentry all in. But, I mean, if you can get it maybe in the next 30 seconds, they'll still be okay.
Nice.
Those zealots, though, quite a pain.
Yeah, they did cancel and not kill that third. And while the zealots were kind of awkwardly meandering around, they're on the wrong side of the map, but if Pilipili actually gets this unload in the main, we've seen very dirty versions of this used in the past, and we certainly would see it used again. While he distracts in the front with the zealots, I mean, JonSnow absolutely sees the warp prism. The question is he in the main for it? If this warp prism gets here and these roaches are still fighting in the front lines, there's nothing to snipe off those sentries, and he's just going to warp in on the high ground. Oh, there's a couple of roaches. I'm not sure if he'll dedicate to this now.
So that was actually taken care of by JonSnow. Good on him, but it is still going to be an Immortal Sentry all in. Now we have the Immortals coming out. So if the Sentries had started the ball rolling, that's great. If not, well, at least you save them on the Warp Prism, and they're going to gather energy.
Yeah, I mean, the possibility of this still happening is still very real. To stress the timing of those 3 roaches coming out, by the way, let's say those were 2 seconds later. That's Pilipili deploying the Warp Prism and actually having a Warp in of Zealots to kill the roaches or Stalkers or whatever. And then the force fields go down and this gets out of hand. So it was a little bit of, okay, I'm sure JonSnow was definitely counting on them coming out, but the luck through timing worked out perfectly for him.
What has JonSnow scouted? He's saying an Overseer through here, so it's like if he hadn't scouted it before, he definitely knows it's going to be Immortal Sentry all in now. I was pretty sure he knew just like a while ago, seeing the Robo as he did at that natural. But now is the question, as he confirms, I guess, like what can he do against it? Your third was heavily delayed. Like it delayed much further than I think you really wanted with those zealots being warped in. Your drone count's still not that great. It's only at 40. You'd want to be up to like 50 or 55 would be pretty perfect. And then going to Hydralisk is a good way to go against Immortal Sentry, but only if you can produce enough. Like 3 Hydras aren't going to add a ton.
So Pilipili has let a changeling sit with his army the entire time, which means JonSnow knew exactly what was coming. And this attack, being so aggressive, wasn't even blind. Coming into it, he snipes off that first Immortal immediately. A couple of sentries on the front lines as well, very vulnerable. But, this should never be, just snipe off that one changeling, and JonSnow's no longer as confident being out on the map like this. In fact, he's probably sitting more at home. I'm surprised that Pilipili let that get so out of hand. I mean, he's going to clean up a lot of the roaches, and that's nice, but this is still unnecessary losses for our Protoss player.
It definitely was. That same donuts, the same roach kills could have gone down without losing at least an Immortal. I don't know, maybe a couple Stalkers go down, but that second Immortal dying was a big deal, and the Warp Prism was right there, so definitely unnecessary. But I think by killing all of those roaches, he's definitely made up for it. The army count goes back in his favor. Again, JonSnow has not been on the best economy throughout this, and being on even supply at this point is not exactly where you'd want to be. I mean, it might still be doable with a good concave, maybe with the force fields run out, but you could be in a much comfier position if you're not taking damage early on.
Well, pushing towards that third, it's going to be really hard to fight around this. There's still a lot of force fields to go down on either side of that ramp. Time Warp, in fact, coming down from behind. Stalkers have just got straight up a lot of damage. Well, there's no direct warp-ins. Well, I was going to say there's a recall, but never mind. Burns the Time Warp.
Oh, wow.
And with that being done, there's no chance for him to get out of here. He's got to do a lot of damage or he loses these very critical units.
There is an attack going into the main, too. I was like, where is that Warp Prism? Well, it went into the main. This is actually a very dangerous maneuver from Pilipili, to be honest. I mean, his other forces... could have been overrun, and then this would not have done enough damage. But it looks like he's going to sort of win on both fronts anyways.
Yeah,
and Pilipili might just 2-0 JonSnow.
Good
Yeah,
game
there you
is
go.
called. I never would have seen this coming, but congratulations to Pilipili. Now, of course, for us, this is extra interesting because the winner goes on to fight against Illusion.